Okay.
Here we go. All right, Hidden Pearls podcast fans, welcome to season 2. We are kicking off this season with the one and only Darren Waller. So welcome, Darren, from the Las Vegas Raiders. We had the pleasure of getting to know Darren during his visit to Nashville for the 2021 inaugural Tight End University held in late June. Darren was with us throughout the 3 days and presented to the group of the 49 NFL tight ends gathered together for TEU. He shared his own story as well as some of the things he has done that have helped him in his own journey as he has become one of the NFL's top tight ends in the league. Darren has also created the Darren Waller Foundation, which will be our charity focus of this week as we kick off the 2021 season.
Thank you.
And I get to do your bio. Let's ride. First off, Darren, thanks so much for coming on the Family Podcast. We're excited to have you and excited to see you this weekend. It's going to be a good one. Darren Waller is a Pro Bowl tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders of the National Football League. He grew up in suburban Atlanta, Georgia, where he also attended Georgia Tech.
Thanks.
He was originally drafted in the 6th round in 2015 to the Baltimore Ravens, eventually joining the Las Vegas Raiders in November 2018. Darren is also a recovering drug addict who is just 4 years sober, just under 4 years sober. Congratulations on that, man. That is awesome. He recently started the Darren Waller
Foundation. Just over now, right? Like we just got over 4 years.
Over about 2 weeks. I think I might have copied and pasted that from something I did a while ago. But
oh, no worries, dude. You're sick. Over 4 years.
I'll take the L.
Hey, yeah, cool.
No, it's all good though, man. Congratulations. That's a big milestone.
Appreciate it.
Well done.
So he recently started the Darren Waller Foundation to help youth avoid and recover from substance abuse issues through therapy, mindfulness, and creative outlets. Darren is also a producer and recording artist and also has a podcast, Comeback Stories, which I see all the time. So welcome, Darren, to the Hidden Pearls Podcast. We are so happy to have you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. It's a blessing to be here.
Well, on applause here at the house. Okay. Darren, good to have you with us, man. Thank you so much for being here. As noted, we last saw you live, at least at the tight end in Nashville there, tight end U, so that was great. So give us a little bit, any updates since then? I know pretty much everybody left, had a little 4th of July, and then was getting ready for camp. But how are things going, and any updates on the Raiders camp?
Yeah, so since tight end U, took a little vacation, went to Puerto Rico, went to Colorado, Denver, and Aspen. So those were just very relaxing times for me. And then, just hopping into training camp, getting the grind going every year, dealing with those jitters that come back around every year, and just, getting excited about getting things going again, just laying the foundation. So it's been a rough camp, as you can see by looking at how I look right now. But it's a necessary period, and it's been a great time.
I love it. Hey, so Darren, fun fact, you got some new teammates that I'm very good friends with from Solomon Thomas and my guy Skit Dog,
Who's in the room now.
Who's in the tight end room with you and Foster, which is so dope. How they doing? How my guys Solly and Skit?
Solly is great, man. He's one of the strongest looking people I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, he is.
Just his mindset and his attitude and the way that he gets after it. Funny story about him. I met him on this mental health thing that the Colts put together. It was like a reverse the stigma, and he was on there. And they were like Las Vegas type defensive end Solomon Thomas. I was like, Las Vegas, like this guy's on my team. And so we just kind of chopped it up from there, and we were just talking about our stories and sharing, and just seeing how open he was about everything that he went through was, amazing. So he's one of my favorite teammates already. And then Skit, just hanging around with him and at tight end U. One of a kind personality for sure. Really tough guy too. He had a pretty gnarly wrist injury at the beginning of camp, and he's been fighting through and still whooping people in the run game and catching passes. So he's just been a blessing to the room. Real funny guy, and I love both those guys. They really add something to our team.
I will say, Skid is a blessing to the room. Because I just train with him in the off season, but every time you're with him, you can't just help but be in a good mood and smile. He's a big ball with positive energy. And then Solly's one of my favorites. We got drafted together, so we went through that whole experience together. So I miss Solly, and I'm happy he's somewhere where he can thrive a little bit. So you guys got lucky with that big guy too.
That's good.
And Martha and Chris, adding those to the family roster is like creme de la creme.
Solomon's parents are big.
Super solid.
Yeah, my parents are big fans.
Yeah, good friends of ours. So let's see. Okay. All right. Now, you being an insider with the Raiders, and we're playing you this weekend.
Raiders.
Raiders. any inside tidbit that you can give the Niner faithful about what it's like to be a Las Vegas Raider? Give us a view from the inside for a second. Anything you can share that won't come back and bite you later?
Man, yeah, the Raiders, man, we are. We're gonna be a physical football team. You know, we try to run the football defensively. They're gonna be real simple on defense and just fly around and try to come downhill on people. So yeah, I mean, if there's one guy I'll tell you to look out for this weekend is this rookie defensive back we have named Nate Hobbs. This dude is trying to tear people's heads off. They got him playing nickel and some corner, but he's really just like, who in the world is this guy? He's trying to kill people out there, and just his tenacity at playing defensive back. It's just you don't really see it that often. So he'll be out there roaming around playing nickel. I feel like he could be our starting nickel from day one. I mean, it's just been that impressive. But yeah, he's been really killing it. That's one guy that's really just jumped off the page at me like, wow, this guy can really ball.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool. Okay. All right, Niner Nation. There you go. You got a little some tidbit. Well, as you know, it's a deep rivalry here in the Bay Area just because, before. And actually, I still remember the last Niner Raider game that was a home game for the Niners was played on the Halloween.
Battle of the Bay, yeah.
It was Battle of the Bay, and it was nuts because all those Raiders.
It was actually a little bit scary.
It was kind of scary because everybody had full regalia on, with the shoulder pads and all that. It looked like a Kiss concert, so it was kind of crazy that way. So, okay. All right, now, the other insider info I'm digging for. All right, now, I've always been a big fan of old John Gruden, Coach Gruden, the one infamously known as Chucky around the league for very good reason. So, do you have a Chucky story that you can share without ending up in having to run laps or stadium steps of some kind? We'd love to hear a little something about the coach who's now driving the big ship in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, I got two quick ones. The first one was when I first got to the team. My name was Darren Wallers. We had a guy on our team named Darren Worley, and I guess my name was similar in structure to Darren Worley, so I was Darren Wallers for probably a little while, and I was just real quiet. I was like, yeah, that's my name until, at some point, if I do enough, they'll know my real name. But there's another one that stands out from the first time I heard it. A quarterback was trying to force a throw or trying to do something, and he was like, all right, man, don't stuff sand up a flea's ass. And everybody just looked around like, what in the world does that mean? But it's really his way of saying, like, you don't have to force anything. You can really just take what's coming to you in the game or in life. Like, don't try to force anything. Anything that's going to happen, that's supposed to happen, is going to come to you, and just to have patience and a sense of calm about you. But his way of putting it is crazy and energetic. So that's definitely a John Gruden moment.
All right.
Knock if you're with me.
There we go. I like that. Don't stuff sand up a flea's ass. Okay, there's wise words from Coach Gruden. Good.
I love it.
And he's still carrying a little intensity. He's not getting too old and all that stuff. He's still got a little edge to him.
Too much edge, if I have to say. It's a little rough, but
yeah,
it's all good energy.
I'll have my binoculars out. I'm gonna be like ISO right on old Gruden all the day. That was really fun. So, okay, let's see. Okay, so we mentioned tight end U. So how about one of your favorite parts about tight end U? What'd you think of that experience and all that kind of stuff? And are you coming back next year?
I'm definitely coming back next year. I definitely appreciate all the camaraderie amongst the guys and just how eager guys were to learn, just how versatile and different the position can be. You used to think like a tight end, like you think like just a big, burly bruiser, and it's like, yeah, guys can be that, but guys can also be quick, fast, explosive, and can do everything that the game requires. So just being around that and just being around the love and the welcoming energy that all the guys had, you don't know how guys are coming in, and it's like, how's everybody going to be? But everybody was, as cool as possible, and it was just, a great weekend, great moment.
And the yoga, right? The yoga was the other favorite part.
Yoga was outstanding. I probably fell asleep during a couple different meditations because I was just at ease.
We believe in the little yin at the end of the work. So the yin and the yang have to be there. So yeah, those were pretty good. Yeah, the quiet meditative stuff at the end. So that was all good. Okay, then. All right, you and George, when did you first kind of hear of or know about who George was? And same for you, George, about Darren. And then when did you guys first meet? I don't know if it was a tight end U or not, or you had met before that.
I think it was tight end U was the first time we met, right, in person?
Yeah, tight end U. First time I noticed George, 2018, I was on a practice squad with the Ravens most of that year. And he was just flashing. And I remember the first time, I think it was against the Chargers. I think you were like sold like a sail route, but then like went back up the seam and caught it, and it was like 80-some yards. And then you had that game against Denver. I'm just like, yo, this dude is like doing what I feel like I could possibly do one day. Like these guys going for like 200 and just taking shit and going 80 with it. And so just seeing that and just seeing like he ended up with like 1,400 almost. I'm like, wow, like this, he's really setting the bar. So just like my eye was on him, like, okay, this is the standard, this is the bar to work towards. And then just to see him at tight end U, just radiating just like a loving energy, like a welcoming energy, like everybody's welcome here, like you guys are all cool. It wasn't like a competition or anything. It was just like let's all get better, let's all have fun, let's all get something positive out of this. And I just felt that from the jump.
I appreciate that, Darren. Let's see. For me, Darren, I mean, like 2019 that wasn't your first year starting, right? Or was it?
Yeah, first one.
Yeah, no, and you just kind of shot out of the gate regardless. And that was awesome. I mean, because I don't know, my coach always sends me like, hey, you got to watch this tape. And by like week 2, he's like, you need to watch this one too. And from then on, I watched basically weekly tape on Darren Waller, and that was awesome for me. Just, it's fun to see someone that is, I mean, dude, Darren, you're a massive human being. And to also be that fast, you're just like a Clydesdale out there running through people's faces. And also like you're elusive in that exact same regard. So it's just fun to watch that because there's not really a lot of people that can do that stuff. Yeah, man, you're a unicorn out there. It's awesome. But yeah, no, that was, now I just get to watch Darren Waller highlights just 24/7. It's a blast.
That's cool. Yeah, you're a long cat, Darren. You're 6'6", right? And then what do you weigh now for camp? 250 something probably?
255. Most people think I weigh like 225 or 230.
I know. We saw you in person too because you're so long and lean, and so it's a good fit. So well done on that. Okay, how about one trait you guys admire about each other?
I feel like George has like a childlike joy when it comes to football. You know, a lot of guys it can be a business. It can be like, it can wear on you a little bit and you kind of forget about the fun aspect of it. Like it's meant to be fun. You're meant to enjoy it. And it's like, you never, any of the mic'd up or any kind of thing where you see George, it's like, you see that joy and it just like radiates. So that's something that stands out. And it's always something I want to be in touch with when I'm out there.
Yeah. That's what I always try to do. It's a kid's game. It's hard to do well if you're not having a good time. Let's see. I don't know. First thing I think of is just your engine, dude. Like you're just always attacking. You're always working. You're always doing something new on the football field. You attack the football every single time. You attack in the run game. You attack it like when people are coming at you, whether you're elusive or whether you just like run through them physically, but you're just always going at 100 miles an hour. And I just appreciate that because, you know, effort's a mindset. You can either bring effort or you can just kind of chill on the sideline and, you know, let it be up to other people, but you make sure it's on you that you're going to be playing at a high level. And I respect the hell out of that because for some reason, that's not how everybody plays.
Right. Well, Darren, I want to add in because I don't know you that well, but we met at Tight End U and I got to listen. And, you know, the one thing I just wanted to add is, you know, you have a very distinct energy as well. Because, you know, like you said, we tried really hard to create at Tight End U a sense of collegiality, you know, and welcome. That, you know, it's not like there's a scarcity of the pie and we're trying to cut it up between certain players. It's like the pie just gets bigger the better everybody gets. But when you presented, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes a little bit more, I guess your vulnerability and your sincerity that you brought to the room in a way that, you know, that's 49 NFL tight ends. And like you said, we were trying to kind of, you know, make it comfortable, but I think when you got up that, you know, on the time when you talked and you just kind of broke the ice with that piece and you kind of put the story out there and you were talking and that I wanted to just say, I really appreciated the courage it took in that room to kind of go where you went with it, you know, and to share that and just the absolute honesty and sincerity that you brought. So I really appreciate your energy, and I've kind of followed you on some other podcasts and just, you're really consistent about one, your love for the game, but just, you know, your absolute passion and concern for other people who might be struggling and that kind of stuff. So anyway, just really want you to know, we appreciate your heart and your spirit, kind of where you're at with all that kind of stuff. And you're such an asset to the game because, you know, we're still kind of in this period, I think, where we're redefining what it means to have healthy masculinity. And I think the NFL for years has been a misnomer that you got to be a blockhead and you got to be, you know, big and tough and beat up people and all that kind of stuff. And it's just really not true. And so I think you're one of the people that are helping move the needle on that you're very articulate and you've got insight about some things. you're very self-aware in your practice of mindfulness and that kind of stuff. So anyway, just shout out to that, because I think you really helped move the room that day when you spoke and helped us get to where we were trying to get to with tight end youth. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Well, good. All right, so last on this, and then we'll jump into some other stuff. How about one or two NFL players, either past or current, kind of your favorites, who you might admire and why?
Yeah, I definitely admire Calvin Johnson. It's kind of easy because he's from Georgia and went to Georgia Tech. But I mean, I feel like it's more so like the way he used to go out there just banged up and knowing that everybody on the field was zeroing in on him, but he would still go out there and catch it over 4 people. You know, that comes with like, you're out there, you're the guy they're game planning for every week, but still not making excuses. Like, it's easy to be like, oh man, well, you know, they double teamed me or they had 3 people around me. But it's like he's going out there and making it happen regardless of those easy excuses that he could have. And I just feel like he wasn't really like a super brash guy. He was just, you know, went out there and handled business, and that was just what it was. You respected his silence. And, you know, kind of like Barry Sanders too. Like, people get on me a lot for like not celebrating or anything, but one, I feel like me doing all that is just a little extra for me and my personality. So when I was a kid, I watched the NFL film stuff. I just saw him just throw a ball to the ref. I was like, well, I feel like I can do that and just, you know, keep it moving, let the rest of the game go by. So I'll say those are 2 guys I look to for personality and skill.
That's cool. Yeah, your game does speak for itself. You know what I mean? So it's good. George?
Oh, that's on me too.
Well, yeah, this is
I do have to touch on the celebrating thing. Do you ever have you ever celebrated and just gotten exhausted from it? Like, I get tired.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I get tired from them. It's like anything if it's on the same drive, like I can't get up and like be all like flexing and running around. Like, I got like 6 plays left, man. Like, I gotta keep the engine going.
Efficient.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, let's see. NFL player that I really admire. One of my go-tos always is Bob Sanders, the safety from the Indianapolis Colts, because he played at Iowa. So I grew up and I got to see all of his games when he played at Iowa. My dad took me to all the home games. And so I got to see Bob Sanders there, and then seeing him play in Indianapolis, just that was a guy that had 0 excuses. He was like 5'7", 5'8", and he would just run through people's faces, and he did not care who you were, how big you were, if you're a left tackle, if you're a running back, if you're a quarterback. He's going to make you remember playing Bob Sanders, and I love every aspect of that.
all right. Very cool.
Violence, yeah.
All right. Lulu, run with us.
Hi, guys. Well, okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your mental game. And not only, I mean, also thank you for sharing your story at Tight End U. Like, that was incredible and very cool to hear, and that you stood up in front of all those guys and talked about that. So I want to come back to and I don't care which one we take on first. Well, let's come back to the mental prep and like how we talk about like how you get ready for game day and like taking care of that. But after meeting you, we kind of did a lot of Google searches on Darren Waller and learning kind of about you and the things that you're interested in and like this kind of healing journey that you've been on. And so you've done work like energy healing and shamanic healing, and now even touching on this topic of like healthy masculinity and being vulnerable. Can you kind of talk about that and maybe your experience in being in the league and being who you are now, and how you feel like sharing that message with younger men, or even, you know, maybe not even younger men, but like how you feel like being vulnerable and like this kind of reframing masculinity can lead to a healthier man culture and world potentially?
Yeah, as far as the vulnerability, you know, I feel like it's something that I have to do at this point. If I'm not vulnerable, one, I just isolate myself from everybody, and that will, you know, kind of translate into my actions, and I'll just make selfish decisions I didn't really have the intentions of making. Like, I look back in my career, and it's like I got suspended multiple times in college, suspended multiple times in league, and it's like in those times it was like I wasn't trying to be like this arrogant asshole, but my actions showed that because I wasn't being in touch with who I really was or speaking on what I was really going through, and so that it came out in a way that I didn't want it to come out. And so now, just me being vulnerable, I can kind of control the narrative on me, but also I can, you know, that allows me to connect with human beings in the way that I always wanted to. Whereas before it was like, you know, I wanted to just feel their approval, or if it was women, just like trying to have sex with a whole bunch, like to feel that connection. But that real connection comes with me putting my hurting, vulnerable self out there and just owning that. And other people will be like, oh, wow, like, bro, you're not the only person that feels that way. I feel that way too. But I always thought that it was just me going through it and nobody could relate, nobody could understand. But, you know, it took me crashing and hitting the wall to realize that it's an exhausting way to live. It's not a way for a man to live, you know. Physical strength and, you know, material things and all that, they're impressive, but, you know, they don't really fix the problem. Like, you know, I was in the league and felt like I had access to anything that I wanted, but it was like I was never more miserable in my life. So it's like now that I go inward and search for the answers inside of me, not trying to fix internal wounds with external things, that's where I kind of realized, like, wow, this is really the recipe. Like, I can go out on the field and do whatever I do and enjoy my life and everything, but at the same time, I can be a human being and let people know that it's not always going to be a smooth ride. Everything wasn't perfect for me to get here. It was actually pretty rough and a lot of failure, but in that, there's a lot of meaning that you can get in your life. And, you know, that's just, it's all going to be worth it in the end.
So I guess in talking about like healthy masculinity, do you feel like there is also a layer of getting in touch with your feminine side? Like having like both sides to the coin, like the yin and yang, like the sun and moon, you know, like both sides to a human?
Absolutely. Feelings, emotions, you know, being able to cry. Like, I honestly wish I could cry. Like, I've gotten to the point like numerous times, even regularly, like where like my eyes will water up, like either from joy or, you know, just like feeling like overwhelmed sometimes. But I haven't been able to break through that barrier. But, you know, just being in touch with my feelings, it's a very valuable experience. I feel like that's even stronger than running over the middle of the field and getting blown up by 3 people and getting your helmet knocked off. Like, that takes toughness, but it takes even more toughness, I feel like, to say like, yo, I'm hurting. Like, I need help. Like, you know, this is killing me right now. Like, and to say that amongst men or amongst people, like, that takes an insane amount of strength. And then once you're done with that, like, my pits will be shaking, or my pits will be sweating, I'll be shaking a little bit, but then I say it and I can feel the release. I can feel like, wow, like this feels like what I'm supposed to be doing. So you definitely got to be in touch with the feminine side.
Yeah. So
Go
ahead.
Well, I just want to affirm the fact. So in the recovery world, though, transparency and honesty is like a foundational piece, because as soon as you start keeping secrets, even if you think it's a little one, then those secrets they grow. They're like weeds in the garden. And pretty soon you got these giant corn stalks growing and they're not supposed to be there. And so by telling the story and being vulnerable like that, with that courage, it just keeps the slate clean, and then nothing can pile up on you. And then if there's no secrets, then you don't start going down any kind of roads you don't want to get to. So anyway, so really appreciate that. And I think the courage it takes and being in touch with both sides. So thank you very much for that answer.
Well, so in thinking of like young, or like anybody really who might be struggling with tapping into healthy masculinity or finding a connection to their feminine side, was there a practice? I mean, obviously, like you said, you kind of ran into a wall and like had a crash, but are there practices that you either do or have found, or like a healing modality that really helped you to open up and kind of, I mean, it's a courageous act. Like, to tell somebody how you're feeling can be terrifying. And like you said, like, I have a very strong physical reaction every time I have to be incredibly vulnerable with somebody. Are there things that helped you? I mean, because obviously NFL athlete is like the ideal, like macho gladiator, masculine image, I feel like, in our society today. So like, how did you develop the courage and kind of your voice in that process?
Yeah, for me, it started by going to rehab, putting my pride and my ego to the side, going to detox for 4 days, then going to rehab for like 35 days. And in there, I learned how to meditate. They put us onto the Headspace app, and we start with like 1 minute of breathing, then you go like 3 minutes, then 5 minutes, and 10 minutes over time. And they introduced us to this book called 10% Happier by Dan Harris. He was a ABC World News anchor. He talked about how he had like a meltdown on live television and how that got him to think about what meditation could do for him. And it was just like an easy read. And because I feel like a lot of people think like meditation, like, oh, I can't meditate. There's too much going on in my mind. Like, I can't be still. And you think it has to be like perfect Zen, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's all about just bringing yourself back to the moment. So just having that foundation in rehab and just like one-on-one therapy, like going to therapy, like most people think that's for crazy people. And I mean, if it is, then I guess I'm crazy, but
Same.
it's been very valuable to me because there may be a lot of times where you feel like, these guys may not understand, like in the locker room, like guys may not understand, or your family may not be on that level of vulnerability. And it's like, man, I need somebody to talk to regularly, and therapy does that for me. So it's just that constant vulnerability, that constant just making yourself uncomfortable, and then balancing that with the meditation of just sitting with it and letting that discomfort teach you something, letting that discomfort show you that, you don't have to attach to that feeling or that narrative that you have about yourself. Every time it comes up, you can just breathe with it and let it go. And, also journaling for me, just writing anything, everything, not perfectly legible paragraphs, but just like any kind of thought that's come through my mind and just getting it out, because anything that stays bottled up with me, at some point it's going to come out in the way that I don't want it to. So I'll say meditating, journaling, and therapy are the 3 go-tos for me.
And it's interesting that like when you start, so I guess to kind of go off of what you're saying, if anybody's like looking at starting a meditation practice, what I always like to tell people is that it's so much more important to start with doing something really tiny every single day, rather than being like, okay, on Sunday, I'm going to do a 30-minute meditation and I am zened out for the week. So if you can kind of bring even 30 seconds in, 60 seconds, and like Darren said, like kind of working up, it's such an easier process. And as somebody, like, I haven't trained at the level that you guys have, but what I like to think of when I am working with NFL athletes is it's like a way to train your nervous system, like being still and shutting off from all those external sources. So let's talk about kind of mental prep and how you get ready for game day. So can you say more about that? What's helped you kind of in your whole process? What your in-season process like? Like, do you have a game day routine? Do you do the same for practice, meditation, breath work, affirmations, the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, so prep for football, I don't really have too much of a routine. I do meditate before practice. I'll probably do 5 minutes before I go out and get warmed up. And before a game, I may meditate longer, maybe like 10, 15. But it's just a way, like you said, like training your nervous system. It's like when meditation helps me, like when situations could go wrong on the field or things may not go the way you want them to, there could be like a sense of panic or guys feeling like I need to overcompensate for something, instead of realizing like I can change this ultimately by being in this one moment, being in this play, and just stacking individual plays in that same mindset. So it's like, that helps me out there where a guy may be like, man, I got to make this play. I don't know if they're going to cut me. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I don't even know why they signed me to a new contract. Like I could be shipped out of town at any point, but it's like, whereas me, it's just like, I can't control any of those other things. They may let me go at some point. I may not be good enough, but in this moment, I can be right here and just be calm no matter what the score is, no matter if I just blew something the last play before, like right here, right now is what I can control and I can change. So that's where meditation has come over for the most part. And it's like, taking a breath when I leave the huddle. And, when I'm watching film, like if I want to like speed through the film and be able to say like I watched a whole bunch of games, it's just like, no, however much film I get through is how much film I get through. But I want to be able to sit here and realize like if I see safeties rotate or, some kind of blitz happen, it's like I'm not panicking through it and trying to, or be paralyzed, that paralysis by analysis thing. It's just like I can let my body react to it. So it's honestly like taking this mindset in football and realizing like, yeah, there's a lot going on. It's complex, but at the same time, it's very simple. And if I don't overcomplicate it, I can trust my body and allow it to react in the way that it's supposed to react. And, the more simply I put it out there and the less expectations I take into the field with as far as stats or I got to get this number of this, like I just go out there and let my preparation take over, have a great attitude, play with great effort, like George was talking about earlier. I feel like everything's going to work out the way it should.
Damn.
And the trust in the process. George, we're getting a lot of head nods over here. Do you want to?
Great. No, I vibe with a lot of all of the things that Darren is saying, especially like, you have to play one play at a time. I had like a big issue in college. Like I had like, I think we all deal with like anxieties at different levels and stuff like that. But in college, I had like this anxiety with certain plays and stuff like that. And I'd always like psych myself out of it while going from the huddle to the line of scrimmage. Before they said hike, I'd just completely psych myself out of the play. And so one thing that I did was someone told me to do like a reset button, like a physical thing. And so I would draw a big red button on my wrist. And after every play, whether it was good or bad, I'll just slap it. I'd take a deep breath and I'd just be ready for the next play. And it like completely just changed the trajectory of my entire career, really. And like just that mindset of, hey, it's every play that matters. And hey, you can go to the next day, you can go watch the film and you can correct all those mistakes, but there's not shit you can do about the play that you just did. And all you can care about is a play that the quarterback's about to call. So that, and like taking a deep breath before every single play, it's awesome. And then just trying to stay in that same, in the zone, I guess you want to be in, like when you're on the sideline and stuff, like you have a bad drive, someone messes something up, like as long as you just focus on what you can control and you trust that your teammates are going to have your back and they're going to do what they can do. I mean, it just makes football a lot easier. And then that allows you to have fun out there and stuff like that. And as soon as you start thinking about all that other shit that doesn't matter and you can't control, you're distracted and now you're no longer playing Darren Waller football or George Kittle football. And then you're playing someone else's game, that's lose-lose because I think we're both pretty good at what we do.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about leaning in without straining. You know, you got your direction, your focus, you know where you're going, but you're staying within yourself. Because as soon as you start to clutch or strain toward it, all of a sudden you're out of your game and it's impossible to really find that kind of flow state that you're looking for. And the ability to flush bad plays, no doubt that's huge, especially in the league, I think, just because it's such a mental piece for that. So,
I mean, everybody in the NFL is good at football. So like, you're like,
I was just thinking that it's like, you know, even the guys you see in preseason games, it's like you think there's a drop off, but these guys, as far as talent, like everybody can play, but it's just like the consistency with you can move through all the little adversities that can happen over time. Like, how can you stay as even keeled as possible? Those consistent guys who are really kind of separate themselves.
Damn
very
straight.
cool. Very nice. We're going to kind of clip that off. I'm going to use that for our MAP program with intro guys. So the Darren Waller approach to mindfulness. So it's really good, man. No, it's really.
Maybe we'll get a Darren Waller course, Dad. Are we going to have a little highlight, a little guest teacher, maybe?
The piece I just want to hit because you went over this was when you talked about, you know, holding space for your emotions. You didn't quite say it like that, but you know, that's the one thing about mindfulness is that, you know, those emotions that we so often run from and we try to numb ourselves out of, right? Because we don't want to experience it. But the more strength we can find in being centered through breath work and those other pieces and the more depth that we have in knowing each other, we can embrace those emotions that are so hard for us. And then we realize they're not us, right? there's something our mind and our body create, and we can hold space for them, get to know them, and then discover where they come from. Why do I have them? And the more we do that, the more comfort level you have, and then they don't push you out of either your game or your life in that way. So I thought that was really powerful as well. So appreciate you mentioning that too. So, all right, Lou, we good on mental prep or where are we going?
Mm-hmm.
We good? Okay.
Back to your fun facts.
That was super good. Okay. All right. Darren Waller. Okay. Raider. All right. I can't help myself. Okay. You are also the great grandson of jazz pianist Fats Waller. Is that correct? Okay. So you have, and in your bio, we read about that. So you are also into music, producer, released a couple albums, multiple singles, and you are known in that world as D-Wall, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, D-Wall. I'm now about to go by just Darren Waller from here on out, but my first two albums were D-Wall, yes.
Okay. So, well, tell us a little bit about Fats, what you know about him, because that's pretty cool. And then just tell us a little bit about your music and kind of what you do and all that kind of piece. So another side of things about this very diverse and unique, eclectic human being, Darren Waller. So give us a little bit on that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I always saw pictures of Fats Waller around the house when I was growing up, but I didn't really realize who he was or, you know, the impact that he had on the world until I had a jazz history class in college. And the instructor, the instructor runs up to the front of the class when I walk in, and he was like, "You don't have to do anything; just pay attention. Like, this is just your family history." He was just like in awe of me being in his class. I was like, "This dude is tripping. Like, I don't know what's going on." But then I kind of learned more about it and just see like he was like a pioneer as far as like piano and his style of playing, and just his music was just different than everybody else's, and just how powerful that was. And so I saw that. And, you know, at that time, you know, me, somebody that was trying to keep up at the team freestyles in the locker room and, you know, at parties, like I couldn't really freestyle like that. But I saw that and realized that I had some musical talent in me because I played piano when I was a kid and was in middle school band. So I was like, I have something in me. Like, why don't I try to see, you know, what I can do with this? More so just for the feeling that it can give me, because listening to music always, you know, gave me a distinct feeling. And that's what got me going on my journey. And just through my music, it's helped me a lot as far as like building confidence. I didn't feel like I had a lot of confidence before, but me going into a booth and putting a song together and there'd be like 8 people in the room or some amount of people in the room watching and listening, I would be kind of like paralyzed. But then I was just like, I got to just be me and just put this out there, whatever, regardless of what somebody thinks. But this is what makes me feel good. It's what, lights me on fire. So I've kind of stuck with it since, and it's carried over to the field because I would used to be on the field like, don't drop this, like, or, you got to make this play, or just real anxious. But that confidence I developed from music translated over to the field and just allowed me to be me and just treat that like it's an art as well. So I've just been growing with that. I stick with it. It's not like I go up to people and like, yo, I rap. Like, I'm not pushing my music on somebody or, popping out the trunk trying to shove it in somebody's face. But
you don't bring mixtapes to the locker room, man?
I was just gonna ask that.
If somebody asks me about it and wants to hear something, I'll pull it up. But it's just something that makes me feel good. And it's just a balance in my life, something creative I can do and just express myself. And I'll give you guys an exclusive. I have not shared this, but first game of the year is on September 13th, which is my birthday as well, and I'll be releasing a new project on that day.
Hey,
Heard it here first.
Folks, you heard it here first on Hidden Pearls podcast with Darren Waller exclusive. We're going to put that in there. I mean, that's cool.
Exclusive.
Well, Darren, I just want to say thank you for sharing that, and thank you for following your gift and your intuition. But what you said about balance. So it's just great to because you have that football world and all that kind of stuff going on, and then the whole recovery world, which I know is a really integral part of your life. But then to be able to just kind of, again, tap into that flow and that creativity in another venue, such a great, wonderful gift for that. So that's great. So you'll have to shoot us a link or something. We'll put something in the show notes to some of your stuff so people can kind of tap into the D-Wall, but now Darren Waller, kind of stepping out from behind that alter ego and claiming it for who he is and what he is. So that's pretty cool. So, all right. Well, thank you on that. Okay. So, George?
What's his name?
Oh, well, you both.
Fashion. Let's dive into the fashion side. So, one of our favorite segments from last year. So we're going to show a little game day fashion. Darren, let's first kind of unpack what's your go-to attire on game day? Any shoes, jacket, brands, anything else that are part of your favorite game day routines?
Are you a suit guy or are you like jeans and t-shirt?
I'm very simple. Jeans, hoodie.
Yes.
No matter what the temperature is, I will force wear a hoodie.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm real simple, man. Sneakers, jeans. Like, I feel like that's just me. I don't want to wear a suit to a game if I don't have to, because I just want to be as comfortable as possible. I don't want to change up. I don't wear a suit every day, so I just want to wear what I wear every day and just be me. But yeah, I'm real simple. I just started finding shoes in my size. I wear 16. I got introduced to like Goat app and StockX recently.
Oh, don't.
So they,
those are very addicting.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay off of those, but yeah, I'm more interested in sneakers now and trying to build my portfolio a little bit.
Dude, I right after my rookie season, one of my buddies from college came down and he was wearing a pair of like off-white Blazers, the black ones, Grim Reapers, and I was like, damn, those are really cool. Because I wore like Nike Frees to the bars in Nashville. Like if I ever did anything, whatever I got from football, that's what I would wear to wear out. It was terrible. And
little fashion issue here.
Yeah, I was bad, dude.
Is that Claire laughing? Is Claire laughing at you in the background?
I had some issues.
14 trainers out a few times in my life.
Oh yeah, dude, they're the best. But yeah, my buddy got me hooked on those, and then all of a sudden, like next thing I know, I'm just like, I love shoes. I'm trying to find shoes, and I'm a 13, so like that's pretty easy to find, thank goodness. But now I'm lucky, like I got the Goat app, but then there's an awesome store here in San Jose that just has so many shoes, and they just hooked me up so much. Like, hey, do you want these? We just got them in. I'll just drive them. Like, yes, I do want those so bad.
Yes. I'm just thinking about, he's got storage issues already, but he's only 13, right? So they kind of fit in those cool plastic boxes. You can stack them to the ceiling.
Yeah, where does a 16 fit in?
16, man, that's tough.
You're like build shelves.
Yeah, if I'm going like on a trip somewhere, like, people can fit like maybe like 3 to 4 pairs of shoes. Like I'm getting like 2 maybe, and then like I have to stuff it in my backpack or carry on top of it.
Yeah, that's so I wear 14s, right? And like I see people, and like they're not very. So you might get a 5, 10, 11, whatever, and their shoes are like like this big, right? So they can put 4 pair of shoes in, all their stuff for like a week, right? In these little suitcases. It's like if I take more than 2 pair of shoes,
huge suitcase.
Like I can't even. It's done, man. It's all over. So I don't know.
Shoes to wear.
Yeah, it's tough. So, okay. All right. Well, let's, Darren, why don't you show, what are you wearing?
What shoes are you?
What do you
shoes
bring
wearing?
into California, big fella? Let's see what you got.
I found these. I think they're like Dunk versus Air Force One. Hold on.
Hey,
Ooh.
those are sick.
Found these. I like that color. I don't know. I just feel like it represents me, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like these.
Those are dope.
Very, very nice. All right. Let's hear it. Big D. I like it.
I love it.
All right.
All right, so I've shown these on the podcast before. These are the Jordan 1. They're the origin story. I switched out the laces, but these came out at the end of the Spider-Verse movie because I'm a diehard Marvel superhero fan. Also, the Spider-Man trailer came out last night, and like I've watched it like 4 times by this point. Very excited.
There's a new Spider-Man coming out. I live under a rock.
Oh, dude, the trailer came out last night. It's awesome. Comes out December 17th.
We'll send you a link to it so you can try to find it.
So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I wore the Spider-Man shirt all day. I'm feeling great about it. They're bringing back. Do you ever watch like the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
So they're bringing him back for it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's the multiverse is all like coming together, and so they're bringing back him, Andrew Garfield, and then Tom Holland. So you'll have like 3 Spider-Mans, and then they brought back Doc Ock, and they brought back the Green Goblin.
Sure. So is it going to be like the cartoon but live version?
No, so yeah, it's real life. Yeah, I mean, well, it's CGI and stuff, but yeah, it's like a real action. It's like the other Spider-Man.
Real. It's
yeah,
real.
and it's real life. But and
It's
then
real, Emma.
they're bringing back
It's
like Jimmy Fox's Electro again, which is sick. They're bringing back Sandman. Like they brought back the Sinister Six, and I'm pretty stoked for it. Yeah,
Sounds like a battle royale.
Yeah, Royal Rumble.
Royal
dude, I
Rumble.
know it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy, and Doctor Strange is in it too, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Doctor Strange. Go watch the trailer, man. 2 minutes and 56 seconds of glory.
Okay. Well, we've been rambling. It's all been really good. So, Darren, we want to make sure we got time for your foundation. So, when we talked about you at Tight End U, you shared your story with folks. And so I'm just going to dump up a bunch of this in here. But so you kind of talked to us about your journey with that. And I don't know if everybody's familiar. So maybe in a minute, you could just kind of do the short version and if they want to do all that kind of stuff. But eventually, you started the Darren Waller Foundation. And so we're going to read through kind of the mission and objectives and just to kind of give that to people and then let you kind of talk about, where you were coming from and then why you started this whole piece. So George, you want to do the mission there?
The mission. The purpose of the foundation is to equip youth to avoid and overcome addiction to drugs and alcohol and support youth and their families during their recovery and treatment journey.
Okay. So then, Emmy, you want to read the focus and objectives?
Yes. The foundation's primary focus is on prevention, which is accomplished by encouraging, affirming, and rewarding Las Vegas students who accept the foundation's pledge. The foundation's secondary focus is on supporting Las Vegas youth and their families during their recovery and treatment journey.
Okay. So we got the prevention and recovery support. Okay. And then and again, this kind of ties back into your journey. So Darren's why. Darren's why is to leverage his platform as a player in the NFL to share his personal experience with substance abuse and the experience of others in order to provide a safe, affirming, accepting, and encouraging environment for students, which leads to the prevention of substance misuse and prevention. And then the website's got a few stats in there about almost 17% of Las Vegas youth between 12 and 18 use an illicit drug in the past year, which is a little bit higher than the national average of almost 15%. 25.5% of Las Vegas youth aged 12 to 18 participated in binge alcohol use at least once a month in the past year. National average is about 23%. And then every day across the United States, around 3,600 kids in the U.S. under 18 try an illegal drug for the first time. So there's a lot going on in there. And I know that's an area that's really passionate for you. So maybe you can just talk to us a little bit about, we've mentioned your story and your recovery and all that kind of stuff. So tell folks a little bit about that. And then what got you into leading to the foundation? And then I got some questions about some of that, but you want to give us a little backstory here to get us going.
Yeah. So, I started using when I was like 15 years old. I started with like pain medication, oxys, eventually moved on to drinking and smoking weed. And then from there, pretty much any drug I could get my hands on, anything that would change the way that I felt. And I feel like I came across it at a time where, a lot of things weren't really working out for me. I wasn't really fitting in. Didn't really feel like I was accepted anywhere. I just felt like there was something wrong with me. Like I was always, not black enough, basically like one of the white kids and whatever, just people would just kind of just pick at me and it would just really just eat away at me. It really hurt a lot. And so around that time, I was trying to put all my eggs in the football basket because I was, in the South, and football's religion down there. So I was like, they have no choice but to accept me if I'm good at football. And I was good up through middle school, but then once we got to high school, I was really small. Like my freshman year, I was like 5'7", 130. And everybody was lifting weights and just shooting past me. And so I was riding the bench. If I wasn't riding the bench, I was getting hurt. I was always in a cast or something. And, that was just the brunt of even more jokes. And so when I was, right around that time I was hurt for the last time, my sophomore year, I was just around some friends and they had some pills from their parents' medicine cabinet. And I just remember them saying, like, this will make you feel good. And I remember thinking, like, I was never going to use, I was never going to do any of that. But, I wanted to feel good, like, that desperately. So I was willing to do that. And it just became a way for me to make friends, and also came a way for me to just numb everything out and just have what I thought was peace at the time. But it was really just like a counterfeit version. And I go on from there, and, my life seemingly starts to get better as soon as I start using. So I just like associate the two. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to stop doing this, because this is like, I got bigger, people wanted to be around me because I was on varsity teams now, starting to get college attention. So I'm like, yeah, this works. But it's like, I'm already seeing consequences early on. Like I got arrested and kicked off the basketball team my junior year. But around then my ego was starting to kick in. I was like, I don't need them. I'm just like, I can do whatever I want. And the hooks of addiction were already in by that point, like 3 years in. So it's just like, man, like, what are we doing here? And I go to college and go to tech, and it's just like, I don't feel that joy of football anymore. I don't feel like it felt when I was a kid. It was just like a chore, an extra job. And so I was just on campus trying to find where all the parties were at, where all the drugs was at. That was just my number one priority. And within that time, like, I would, go out to these functions and be there amongst people and, want to be fit in and wanted to be seen. But really the whole time I just felt lonely. Like there was not one person in those crowds, in those crowded places that I could really talk to about what I was feeling. I knew that I was just breaking down, pretty early on at 18, 19 years old. And it started turning into suspensions, sophomore and junior year and senior year. Got arrested for weed possession, wrecking cars, just a lot of reckless things. And, I'm not even thinking about putting my using or drinking to the side with all these things happening. So it's like, you look back and it's like, how could I not be aware of myself and what I was doing? But it's just how cunning and baffling the disease of addiction can be. And, the school was trying to send me to rehab and things like that. And I would go, but I was just a master manipulator. I could, really just put this mask on and make you think everything was okay and make you think that I got everything because I was smart and I could, just kind of pull the wool over your eyes. But that was just only hurting me even more and more and just driving me to even greater isolation. And so those rehab attempts didn't work. Going through college, and I was, about to quit playing football, and all these episodes happening with, just back and forth between the administration and coaching staffs because, I'm a risk. I'm getting suspended, but I'm also like one of the better players. So they feel like they kind of have to keep me around out of like good for the school. And, when it's time to come to go to the league, they're like, yeah, you could potentially get drafted, all that. And I just wasn't really excited about it. I just felt like I could see like my demise coming, from a few years out, just because I knew it wasn't what was right the way that I was living. But at the same time, it was too much work for me to want to change. It was very comfortable to stay where I was at in that suffering and that just mode of living that I was in. So, combine time comes around, and that was a process where I started to feel the weight of what the league was going to bring because, you have that room where you interview with all the coaches and everything. And it's just like, I'm legit lying to 32 franchises about, they're like, are you done? Like, is this, who you are? And I was just like, no, it's just a phase. I'm a college kid. Like, I was just having fun, but I'm really like, have no plans of kicking anything that I'm doing or changing in any way. Like, this is just what I was doing. And so I get drafted to Baltimore, and it was just, terrible from there. It was just a scene where the pills that I was addicted to were even more rampant up there. And so I was in bad places. Like people talk about The Wire from HBO. Like I was in those areas, like searching for drugs. And from, the day that one of the early days that I got there. So it's just continued from there through my second year. I was going through the same episodes I was in college, wanted to quit. And I remember just the coaches were just they were kind of over my shit at that point. So they were like, if you're gonna quit, like, just like make a decision. And so in my whole life, I wanted to be wanted and accepted. So that kind of just drove me off the edge of a cliff, and I was just like, screw this. So I basically like sabotaged my way out of the league, just failing every drug test on purpose because I was in the drug program, still getting tested 2-3 times a week while I was using, and just rode that out until, I got suspended June of 2017. And 2 months after that, I'm still using even more than before. And that was when I overdosed. And from there, that was August 12th or August 11th, 2017. August 12th was, the first day I was clean, and haven't used anything since. And I thank God for that. But, from that journey and from all that adding up, it's like, I used to be ashamed of it. I used to want to run from it, not want to talk to anybody about it. But now it's crazy how it's like I'm speaking on any chance that I get. And it's just a miracle, honestly. From going through rehab and all those things, just so many humbling circumstances that got me in touch with, who I really was, and who my ego had me thinking that I was, but I really wasn't. And just being okay with that, and knowing that, going through these things and being honest and being open, no matter how uncomfortable it was, I was learning and growing in something every single day. And, I was working at Sprouts Farmers Market for like 7 months, and I was happier and more content there with the way that I was living, just from an honesty and a character perspective, than I was when I was in the league. So it was just from there I could have a perspective of, okay, like, it's not about the material things or my status or whatever people think about me. It's like, what am I doing? Like, how am I improving myself and trying to help somebody else? And from there, it was, things started to improve. I went back to Baltimore, but they cut me because they drafted 2 tight ends in the draft that year. So I was in the practice squad there. Another moment where I was kind of like, my ego was kind of struck. And, I just, from there, I was able to develop a better perspective, though, and realize, like, hey, I'm going against the number 1 defense every day at practice. Like, if I can get better here and continue to improve, like, I can do something anywhere if I do get an opportunity. And right when I thought that I wasn't going to get opportunity, it was going to be over, that was when, the Raiders claimed me, and, just been improving from there. But once I got to the Raiders, that was when I was like, all right, I have to find a way to, how can I give, what I've learned, what I've accumulated to other people, because that's really like that feeling that we're all chasing after. Like, we want to get everything for ourselves, or, for me being high, but it's like the feeling that I want and that gives it to me is giving something to other people. And for me, that's when I started the foundation, because I realized there's probably a lot of 15-year-old kids like I was, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. And it's just like, you're just trying to find a way to quiet things down, or just, just take it easy, because things can be revving 1,000 miles per hour in your head. And so that's what really motivates me. It's like, it's bigger than me now. It's bigger than how I felt. Because whereas before it was just like, let me get high at any cost, wherever I don't care who was in my way, who was in my life, who loved me, it doesn't matter. Like, it was about me. But now it's, it's bigger than that. Other people can benefit from my experiences. And, I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it's always very powerful when I hear it. So appreciate that. And so it triggered into the foundation. And so we kind of talked about that mission, kind of the focus being on prevention. I mean, that's the hope, but also standing with kids and families if they do need recovery. So Darren, when you're on the website, when you talk about prevention, and I just want to give you an opportunity, I'm going to just kind of lift up a couple things and you can kind of talk to us. But the one thing you talk about in prevention is creating a safe, affirming, and accepting and encouraging environment. So I'm kind of curious about that. And then when you talked about therapy, you talk about, when you talk about recovery, you talk about therapy, mindfulness, and creative outlets. And so those, I'm guessing, for you were really important in both of those kind of avenues. So can you talk to us a little just, on prevention and recovery and this whole safe, affirming, accepting stuff? I think I know where you're going with that. And then also on the other side with recovery.
Yeah, starting with just the environment of everything. I feel like, just looking back on my journey, if, anytime somebody was kind of like, man, you need to stop doing that, or like kind of just like waving the finger at me, I instantly would shut down, because it's just like, you're telling me what to do, but it's like, I don't feel like you're taking the chance to understand what I'm going through or listen to me and take into account what I'm feeling. And so that's what I want to do. Like, for people, it's like, man, I wish I would have had that. Like, I feel like people were kind of prying at me, but it was from a place of love, but I couldn't see it like that at that time. So I wish I had somebody that could kind of kneel down on the ground and kind of meet me where I was. So it's creating that environment where it's like, you can say anything, you're not going to be judged for it. You're not going to be told on, you're not going to be, reprimanded for it. We're here to understand you as a human being before we punish you or before we, try to make you fit into, our timetable or the way that we want you to be. We're going to accept you as you are. And that's what I feel like is important for somebody to be like, okay, like I can let my guard down now. I can really tell them what's going on. And then from there, that's where the freedom starts to happen, like it happened for me. So that's where I feel like the environment is critical, like, because, we can lie to kids and act like we got it figured out and, we never been through anything and we've never failed, but we have. And I feel like the moment that we share that with young people, they kind of realize that success or living the life that they want to live doesn't mean that they're going to be these perfect human beings and can do no wrong. So that's what I mean by that. And just the, therapy, the mindfulness, and the creative outlets, I feel like that's the recipe that has definitely worked for me, constantly going to somebody and talking through what I'm going through, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, finding that time, creating that time actually to sit still and to put the world on hold, to, just be there with myself and to give myself that time. And then the creative outlet, like for me, like music or somebody's drawing or somebody's doing whatever that they do, but it lights them on fire and they can get lost in that. And it can be like a moving meditation in a sense. That's been the recipe for me. And I feel like, anytime somebody else can, learn from that or apply that to their own situation, I feel like they'll have positive results as well.
All right. So let me get this straight. You're offering the radical concepts of love, kindness, and acceptance. Okay. You're way out on a limb on that, I can tell. Okay. So that's really radical. And then offering actual skill sets to help kids work through issues, leading to creativity and finding their own identity. Pretty radical, Darren Waller. You're out there. So anyway, so love, kindness, and acceptance. We're going to roll with that. I love it. That's really, really good stuff. So, so thank you for sharing that. And it just looks like a great program. So a couple things. Let's see. What about? I guess I was curious in this whole thing. You've talked a little bit about the lessons along your journey, but since you started the foundation, have you had any kind of big insights or core lessons as you've kind of tried to get this off the ground in your work with the foundation? So, kind of curious about what you're discovering either about yourself or this journey you went on as far as trying to do this outreach with kids?
For me, I'll say one is patience. Starting the foundation in right when COVID was, taking off from the ground as well. It kind of put some things on hold, and it, kind of forced me to be like, hey, I can find some way to be of service anywhere, whether it's going to share my story in a meeting room or, going to, hang out with kids or people that are, or at a recovery home where people are struggling. Like, it forced me to be like, okay, any way that I can help, I can help. It may not be with these grand programs out the gate or, me being applauded for the work that I'm doing. And it's not really about that in the first place. So it's taught me to be patient with everything because things are starting to come together now, where as far as we've been able to, fund people to go to treatment for 30-day stays for like 6 months now, send one person every month. So just things like that. It's just, forced me to be patient and realize like, it's not about me, but it's about, how can I be of service to somebody else's life, no matter if it's, me getting celebrated for it or it's a big photo shoot there or anything like that. No, it's just like, is somebody's life really being impacted from what I'm doing? And, that's what this has taught me about. It's not about me by any means. It's about, who can benefit from it.
But having the courage to use that platform to stand up and, talk about the things you're talking about though. So that's still something. So that's a great thing. So, all right. So last couple things is, anything else you want them to know about the foundation and, or tell us, what would you tell people about working this area? How can people help either with the foundation and, or in their local communities? What would you tell them?
Yeah. One thing that I want to share is about the pledge for the foundation that we put in place. I came up with it 2018. It was like my first, I think like my second game with the Raiders. And it was my first game where like I had like some opportunities on offense. And before the game, I was just listening to this song. The artist's name's Buddy. He's from LA, and the song's called Shine. And the hook's like, I still can't help but shine. And I just had it on repeat before the game. And it just had me reminiscing on, through everything that happened in my life, I still have an opportunity to, do something positive, to make something out of, the mess that I made. And so with that, like I anytime I break the huddle down with the team, I break it down on shine on 3. And so I kind of created an acronym out of it where the S is self-awareness, the H is hope, the I is integrity, the N is learning to say no, and then the E is for encouragement, not only for other people, but also encouraging yourself. Because for me, I can beat myself up like no other. But that's really the pledge that we want these people to take. It's not anything where they have to do anything magnificent out the gate. It's just like, hey, sit with yourself, get to know yourself, have hope for a better situation, better circumstances, integrity, consistency in your character, being able to say no to people, not being that people pleaser, but really just pleasing yourself. And then, being that source of encouragement. That's all we're asking of people. You don't have to be there right out the gate, but as long as you're, we'll take progression over perfection any day.
Absolutely. Small steps, all taken in the same direction, consistently lead to amazing results. So
They do.
So pretty cool. Okay. So then how can people help? So we got the pledge out. What about donating, volunteering, and or other avenues? And tell people how they can connect with you and or the foundation.
Oh, yeah. Anything that you want to find on the foundation is darrenwaller.org. Donation link, events that are coming up. We have a foundation fundraiser in Vegas, September 27th. But yeah, anything, if you want to learn about any programs that are going on, that website will point you right to everything.
Okay. Excellent. And you're probably on Instagram and Twitter and all those cool things as well somewhere. So
You just got a Twitter.
Yeah, so my marketing rep runs the Twitter. That's not me on there. Sorry to disappoint anybody that is thinking that's me. But yeah, I'm on Instagram, Rack Wall, 2 Ks on Rack, 2 Ls on Wall. The foundation has an Instagram page. It's Darren Waller _FDN. If you want to keep track of events and things on there as well. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay. Yeah. And if you'll send those to us, we'll make sure those are in the show notes as we get going. So last thing. So again, thanks so much for spending time with us like that. In all of this, your journey and working with the foundation and the upcoming 2021 season, which we're hoping is super exciting. What gives you hope in all of this?
I feel like, anytime I can have a conversation like this, it's an open conversation. It's a conversation where, people are putting love and compassion and, just trying to grow all those things in the mix. That's what gives me hope, because people are still know that that's the truth. People still know that that's the path and that's the way that we should be going, despite, all the things that may be happening, all the distractions. And it's a lot of things, we do need to provide a living for ourselves. We do need to, do what we got to do. But at the same time, talking about the things that are going on inside of us and not trying to brush it to the side or act like it's not a big deal, but knowing that it's really the source of everything. So I would just say conversations like this, conversations I have in a meeting room, conversations, you have at tight end university, things like that, where people are just trying to improve themselves and bring other people with them. That's what gives me hope.
All right.
What about you, BK? What gives you hope?
Right now what's giving me hope, I guess it'd be a little bit like that, but I guess, in a way, I've been off social media since January and kind of just running a little bit underground. And I think what's kind of giving me hope is just a fresh perspective, with my own sense of mindfulness and those kind of things and seeing the world in just a perspective that, living in the moment, appreciating how green the grass is and how blue the sky is and how beautiful the flowers are. It's like, George has a beautiful dog named Deanie, which is usually right here. But anyway,
She's laying down.
when we're with George out in Cali, take her out in the mornings, go for a walk. And we always stop by because there's so many beautiful flowers in bloom right now. And I take pictures of all that and send it back to the fam, so everybody can see it. And it's just, kind of appreciating when I do my breathing that I'm actually breathing, and like I'm here and I feel good and I'm grateful for my family and those kind of things. And so I'm kind of like retooled instead of getting way macro, kind of back into the little teeny things. And then I'm working on my kind of gratitude practice from there. And once I've got my gratitude as a foundation, it's like everything seems hopeful. There are no, I guess there are challenges, but really everything's an opportunity for me to learn more about myself, learn more about others, learn more about the world, and then try to find a way in which I might fit in to make a small difference in somebody's life. And so those little moments kind of give me hope.
George?
What gives me hope? Just off the top of my head, what gives me hope is that the Hidden Pearls podcast is back for season 2. I'm really excited about it because it is a way for me and my family to hang out And also just all the guests that we got to bring on. I mean, Darren, it's been a pleasure just to get to know you over the last year or so, but get to meet you and then get you on the podcast together and then learn more about you. And everybody has such unique ways and unique perspectives of how they look at life. And I just appreciate listening to how people, how they perceive things and how they talk about things and how they think about things. And so, I mean, I learn something every single time I come on this, whether it's a Monday night, Tuesday night, whoever we're talking to, I always learn something, whether it's about that person or they give me another thing to think about that allows me to learn something new about myself. So that's what gives me hope. Just learning new things every week. My dog's in the corner.
She's in the corner. We're trying to get
Come here, high five.
Come on. Up here, come here. Come on. There she is. All right, Emmy Lou, anything?
Strong men in touch with their feminine side and embracing vulnerability. It is incredibly refreshing, and I think something that is finally it's not taboo anymore, and it's not silly or woo-woo or spiritual. It's just yeah, thanks. It's just I'm a human being a human, and I think that just provides a lot deeper connections, and it can be very healthy. So I'm very grateful to see that.
Okay. Well, Darren, thanks very much for being on the show. We wish you the very best of luck throughout the season, staying healthy, and we look forward to more conversations. And maybe we'll do a coach's corner with some more mindfulness stuff, because there's a lot of deep dive there. I could go a little bit further, but we won't.
And if there's ever with your foundation, if you guys ever need a yoga teacher to do anything with meditation, please hit us up.
Yeah, let us know. We'll check in on the September fundraiser or whatever. So, because Cali's not very far from Vegas, so it's
maybe there'll be a George Kittle, Darren Waller freestyle someday. Maybe a tight end you album.
I'll sponsor. Oh yeah, a tight end you album, a Christmas album. That'd be awesome.
Christmas album.
Yeah,
tight end Christmas album.
Like see you guys we get Santa hats on and going and free going.
Man,
so
Here for it.
Darren, you get the last word. Anything else you want to add before we shut off?
Oh man, I heard something earlier today in the meeting. My guy Aaron, shout out to Aaron. He said, "What we resist persists." So it's all these things that we may be fighting in our lives, or trying to close the door on, or trying to keep quiet. The longer we fight those things, the longer they're going to fight us. The longer they're going to continue to make us suffer and put pressure on us. So the quicker we are to address something, to face it, to feel whatever suffering that comes with that, but to move on, the quicker we can move on to freedom. So that was just what was on my mind.
Yeah, no doubt. Great book called Obstacle is the Way. It's a Stoic philosophy book by Ryan. What's his last name?
Ryan Holiday.
Great book on Obstacles is the Way. It's the same thing about, whatever you resist persist, and just the more you enter into it, embrace it, and work through it instead of around it, the faster your growth rate and the more quickly you get to your goals. So great note to end on. So again, everybody, thank you. Riley Teal, thanks for being in the background. Emmy, appreciate it. George, Darren, take care. And then we'll see you here in old Santa Clara here shortly. So that'll be great.
Just going to plant the seed, maybe switch jerseys, and then we can have a jersey up in our podcast. Hey.
A big sign right outside of our locker room when we turn our loops in that says, "Players, no jersey swapping in preseason."
Sick.
Yeah, but just think about it. Just think about it.
Yeah, we already send one later.
Bring another one. Whatever. Okay. All right, Darren. Thanks so much, man. Take care of yourself. Appreciate you.
See you, Darren.
Thank you.
Ooh,
okay.
You're the dog.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of season 2, for cheering us on, and for welcoming us back for another season. We are so excited for the list of guests that we have coming up this season for the different organizations we're going to be working with. We have a little bit of a different format that we're going to roll out and explain in our next episode. So that'll be game 1 of the regular season versus Detroit. Very excited for that. If you want to follow us, you can go to thunderbirdperformance.com. That's our website. All of the YouTube channels are there, or all the YouTube videos are there. The podcasts are there. We are on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to all of us if you guys would go on and give us a review. Actually leave us a comment. We're on Spotify, any other podcasting platforms. If you want to find us on Instagram, we're at Hidden Pearls Podcast. And then we have recently started a Twitter and a TikTok. Our Twitter is Hidden Pearls Pod, and then TikTok is Hidden Pearls Podcast. So if there's any content that you guys want to see, something that you'd like us to talk about, or maybe a couple more Mindful Monday things, make sure to let us know. We are also super excited for this, going to be doing the Ask George segment again. So you can go to our website, website, thunderbirdperformance.com. If you click on connect, there's actually a drop down in the subject line where you can click on Ask George, and then go ahead and submit your questions there. We have a form all built out for it. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week.